Can you hear me? If you can hear me, say hi. I think I'm having issues with my microphone here.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, all right, awesome. So I've been saying hello since, but apparently the microphone is not connecting. So today we'll be going, no problem, we'll be going this way. I hope everybody can hear me clearly and see me clearly. You are welcome to the PBI session on our What is Wrong series. As you know, PBI is all about people development, and every other Wednesday, we have conversations with expert persons from industry talking about different topics. In this series, we're talking about what is wrong in the African ecosystem in terms of business. We started with business idea creation, we've gone into operations management, we've gone into customer service management, and then we've also talked about corporate governance and structure on how to manage a business. Today, we are going deep into the meat. We're talking about the reason why all businesses exist. As Drucker said, it is important that the business managers make value for their shareholders. So the most primary objective of a business manager is to make value for the shareholders. It is critical that you do that. And therefore, today we'll be starting off with finance management. I have with me, let me read his bio because it's a beautiful bio. Okay. Skip a bit here. There we go. Okay, so I have Mr. Kofi Aisi Abuache. He is a financial consultant. Yes, he's a financial consultant and he is an expert when it comes to finance management. I'm going to take him through, I want to read the bio, but that would spoil my introduction. So Kofi, like I said to you earlier today, I want to get to know you the same way that everybody's getting to know you. So Kofi, we've mentioned that you're a financial consultant. Can you please show us your face so we can see you and then we can have an interesting interview? Hello.
Hello, Ali.
I can't hear you, Kofi.
Hello, Ali. Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. So Kofi, I've already mentioned your full name, and we know that you're in finance and you're going to tell us about finance, but let's learn about who you are. How long have you been in the financial sector?
Well, thank you and good evening. And I must say, I am equally glad to be here to discuss this pertinent issue that really confronts businesses. As you mentioned, my name is Kofi. I've been in the finance space for well over close to 15 years. I started as an accountant and then ventured into some part of, when they say controls and, operational management as an auditor. Equally, then providing as part of these experience, I ended up providing financial consulting for small businesses, providing services in terms of accounting services, financial management services, coaching small businesses to get them ready for funding, as well as business modeling. Okay. So my background, I'm a chartered accountant. I also have an MBA in finance as well as entrepreneurial financing, both from the University of Ghana, University of Warwick, UK. I've worked in various within the banking service, especially development financing. And as I said, I've also provided services for SMEs, mostly within the private sector. So basically, that's my background. And yeah, and I'm also an enthusiast of entrepreneurial financing and business development.
Okay. This is a very interesting background. Coming from a chartered accounting point of view into finance. I know I've known a couple of chartered accountants that are not into financial management, not by, yes. And so coming from chartered accounting into financial management, I'm very intrigued. I would like to mention, Kofi, that we are streaming on Facebook and YouTube. And so I just want to say hello to our Facebook and YouTube family. Hello, hello, hello. You can send your questions or anything you want to tell Kofi in via our DMs or comment section. And the moderator will make sure that I get it and get it to Kofi. If you're in the chat with us, please, you can drop your comments or you can raise your hand if you have any specific questions to ask Kofi when we open the Q&A session towards the end. However, remember that when it comes to the PBR What is Wrong series, all our questions are always asked on the second Zoom call where we have a question session, and all of that just questions, firing questions at Kofi, and hopefully he'll be able to help us solve some of our business.
Yes, I'm sure I'll be prepared, and I'm sure I would do my best to at least respond to most of the questions that come.
We are excited for that. We are very excited for that. So the first question, which is what we are going to talk about today, mostly what we're going to talk about today, feel free to take as much time as possible to answer this question, is what is wrong with financial management in businesses in Ghana and Africa?
I mean, this question sounds simple but loaded, right? I will start by letting us put our discussion into perspective or into context today. When we say most small and medium enterprises are widely used, they are widely used to describe, it's widely used to describe small businesses in the private sector. Okay. And in Ghana, the most common criteria in measuring an SME is by the number of employees. This has been proposed by since the 1990s by the Ghana Enterprise Agency, formerly NBSSI. Okay. And they defined SME as a firm that is not more than 9 workers, that does not have more than 9 workers, and the total asset is not exceeding 10%. Okay. SMEs contribute quite immensely to every economy. I mean, globally, Africa and Ghana. And data presented by research show that SME in Ghana consists of over 90% of registered businesses, and they contribute to 85% of jobs that are created in Ghana, as well as they contributing 70% to our GDP. However, despite these contributions, from SMEs to economic growth, they have low survival rate and are considered risky. Okay, research shows that for every 10 SMEs or small businesses that is created, at least only just 10% survive at the end of the day. Okay, and due to this high risk, especially mostly they have limited. There's a lot of constraint for SME in assessing financing. The SME's inability to, especially to access funding and other resources, in my opinion, and based on research, can be attributed to poor business practices, as you mentioned earlier, that what is wrong with these SMEs. And not that there is inadequacy or limited sources of funding. So the sources of funding is there, but unfortunately, our practices as SME operators and business owners limit our ability to assess these kind of findings. So in my presentation, or to respond to your question today, I would do well that we look at the various sources of funding available to SMEs, which include personal savings, money from our friends and family, revenue from business operations, loan from financial institutions, equity from angel investors, incubators and accelerators, and as well as support from government initiative. And there's also equity from venture capital. So if you look at these sources, you realize that there's vast sources and opportunity and platform for SMEs to access funding. However, notwithstanding, various common practices that limit SMEs' ability to attract funding which include the improper financial statement, financial management practices, can significantly impact the success and sustainability of SMEs. So this evening, I would let us go through some thorough list. I mean, just about 15 of such common practices, and I guess as SMEs that present on this call, and those that are watching us from the various streaming platform would assess themselves to see whether they fall short or they are guilty of any of these practices. And the first one that I would want us to look at it is operating our business in the informal way. Most SMEs operate as a non-registered business, and when you operate as a non-registered business, we classify these people in Ghana as the informal sector. And being an informal business limits us to be recognized and as much as possible close opportunity in doing certain business with formal sectors, especially with government. Another major problem that we mostly see from the operation of small business is poor financial management. And under poor financial management, there are various practices that also are deemed not to be proper way of doing business. First of all, you find out that most businesses do not have business plan or sustainable strategy. So they operate without any focal point. So as much as possible, when financial institutions want to understand a business, they understand it from the perspective of a business plan or financial records that a business has put together to demonstrate the business viability. Because most SMEs do not have business plan, they are unable to demonstrate the viability of the business to investors and other partners that they seek to do business with. Another problem that is also a major when it comes to the operationalization, the day-to-day operations of SMEs, that there's no budgeting or forecasting. And for a business operating without a well-defined budget or financial forecast, especially a cash budget, the most common of the budget is cash budget, leads to overspending because there is no guidance. You don't have any benchmark to guide yourself and to discipline yourself as much as how you are spending and how you intend to get revenue into the business. Okay, so mostly it leads to overspending. We spend without any control. There can also lead to cash shortages because there is no plan in guiding how we intend to spend. So these are some of the common implications that when we don't put in place a proper budget and financial forecasting. Another major thing that whenever you ask a business owner or an SME is that they don't prepare management account. At least something to guide the business to know that where are we now, where are we going, and also help to conduct financial analysis. And this equally leads to our inability to monitor and track performance and to also make informed decisions. Because whenever you prepare a management report, you know which part of the management report speaks to you, which part of the business that is doing well, and which part an opportunity to improve as well. And we also, as part of this, because we don't do these things, there is no financial management account, and we do not also do financial analysis in our business, we fail to identify areas for improvement. So we operate on a laissez-faire and a free will, and this also do not order well for SMEs. Another part I want us to look at is inadequate financial information and record keeping. Because when you look at it, when you are able to keep proper financial records, especially on sales, right, your expenses, inventory, and also keep proper books of account, these are the things that will help you to prepare a management report. And because we do not keep record as and when we spend or when sales come in, we are unable to even communicate to somebody when people ask, okay, what is the value of your business? Then you see the SME person, I think, because there is no data for you to communicate to people, especially just as simple that, oh, last week I sold 1,000 cedis. and I'm projecting to sell another 2,000 cedis. So someone knows that that business, there's the potential for growth and how much your sales record, but unfortunately, you don't have the records of it and you cannot keep. Another point I want us to look at is misapplication of funds. One major problem or constraint for an SME is limited sources, limited cash. However, there's a tendency for small business to misapply the small money that has been donated to them from the various sources of money, especially from their own savings, monies that family people have given to them. And I am seriously not saying this to attack our dear sisters and mothers and wives and anything, but there is a common there's a common practice in our business operations, which dates back from our mother's days of doing business, that you'd rather see someone operating business using business money to buy cloth to attend parties. Okay, all because they want to belong. They cannot, so you misapply the funds that is for the business to another thing. Oh, thinking that, oh, I'm sure next week they will come and buy so that I will put it inside. You understand? This is a major problem with SMEs that we need to have a look at. Another one I also want to is that there is no designated business account. For most SMEs, they will come to you, they seek for your help, then you do something and say, do you have a business account? Or let me pay you your money. Then they will be giving you their personal account or pay it into Kofi Abuaje's account. But you said your business is Elinam and Co. And you want me to pay the money into Elinam account. Also, the business, it is me. You understand? So when you do that, there's no segregation between business money and your money. And some people will say, oh, I take care of my money. You lie bad. You will definitely dip your hand into business money. And by saying this also, drives us into another bad practice that we see: no allocated salary for the founder or owner. You say, oh, my business, I can't pay myself. So your business, you can't pay yourself, but you have personal needs, you have personal expenses. And also what mostly happens is that whenever you sell and whenever you need money for your personal upkeep, you go in and dip your hand in the business money. And once you start spending the business money, there's no money to grow. There's no money to reinvest the business. You eventually end up, excessively using business money to pay for personal expenses. The second part of it, the C's point I want us to look at is our education and knowledge as SMEs. That is also a major problem. Ellie, we venture into businesses without knowing or understanding the business environment, all because we've seen other people doing it. And unfortunately, we don't take our time to learn about how this business is done. Okay, what is the business environment? Who are the major players in it? Who are the potential customers? Okay, what are customers looking for when I say I am a seamstress, or when I say I provide financial consultancy? Our preparation prior to entering a certain business environment is not adequate enough. So someone wants to go into agribusiness. They want to make juice, and they don't understand what it entails for you to be a juice maker. And you realize that the person goes into it hoping that they can learn through, and sometimes you step on wrong. There are a lot of potholes in the life of an SME and small business, and you step into a lot of them, and the next thing you are dead. So let us also look at that aspect as well. And moving on, one other area I also want us to touch on it is that you realize when we are talking about financial management, okay, and with most SMEs and business owners, they are disinterested in acquiring knowledge and skill in accounting and financial management. They think that that they do not consider that as part of as an integral part of the business. For them, they are so much focused on the business or the product that they are selling and not paying attention that there's a certain vehicle or there's a certain platform that will have to carry the business and ensure that the business is sustainably run, which is financial management. So when you mention, do you understand basic record keeping, or oh, that one there is not me. I don't know. And the common thing you hear, I don't know math, so or oh, me, I know how to count my money. You understand? So these are areas we these are very, very serious pitfalls in the life of a small business. One, they say one major problem that I've also observed in SF is profiteering and irregular review of prices. So for small business, we want to make, it looks like we want to recoup all our investment on one sale. So you will see a lot of SMEs with high prices. They don't have competitive prices because they want to make a lot of profit. And see, the major object of business, I want to say this today, the major object of business shouldn't be profit, but growth. And it takes time for people to grow. No, but none of us grew overnight. Okay, when we came to this world, we were toddlers first, we were a baby, we crawl. We took baby steps. So please, as SMEs, let us be hasting in our quest to quickly make all the profits in the world. And profit doesn't translate into growth. See, today you can sell to someone. If I get to realize that you sold to me at exorbitant price, I will not come to you again. And you lose a sale and you end up not growing. And one thing is that the moment we hear one competitor has increased the price more, no, quickly, we also go and by not, considering what are the similarities and the differences in the customers that we sell to. So that is a major problem that is affecting most SMEs, that is hindering their growth. We look at another area that, because I am a control person as well, that is very dear to my heart: no or ineffective internal controls. We overlook, as SME managers, we overlook control measures, especially cash and cost control measures. We have through that to the dogs. Oh, we understand our business. Me ask for my business and nobody can steal me. Me ask for my, I don't want anybody to tell me whatever my business is. You see, so we overlook some of these things, forgetting that these are the exact things that will help us to ensure that our business becomes sustainable. So there are certain cost controls, like you putting in place, you having a bank account that regularly you review and do reconciliation of your bank account to at least know what money is going out of your account and what is coming in. Okay. The other part is that we know that we buy. How do we compare the market prices to know that whatever we are buying will help us to at least break even or ensure that we control our cost? We don't do some of these little things. The moment you approach an SME that, you know what, I want to help you to put controls in. Oh, that thing there, I don't like those book long things. You understand? And sometimes, what we fail to do is that it takes one mistake for everything that we've built all over a day, all over years, to come crumbling down. I mean, there are SMEs that have moved from the small business even into medium, and you realize that they don't have any control in place. You go and one-man business, he is there, you buy, he collect his money, you put it somewhere, you put it, and you say, oh, the way you have structured your whole business, there's too much chaotic. Can we separate, do something segregation? Oh, no, I don't want that. All because in their mind, when they allow somebody to provide that service, it's cost. Okay. To quickly share an experience with a business. Okay. Here's a business that was employing almost about 50 workers. Okay. And there were no controls. So unfortunately or fortunately for the owner, okay, there was pilfering. One staff was stealing from the business. Okay, here is the case: the business owner could sign a check and give it to the guy that, oh, when you get to the bank, then you write the amount. He was not checking bank statement, so the guy had found a loophole, and there was opportunity to steal. So he steal. When you ask him to go and withdraw 10,000, yeah, another zero. Okay. So these are some of the things, the implication that can happen to a business that does not want to pay attention to internal controls. The next thing is, as business, sometimes small business, you see a small business and mostly startups, and they say, "Oh, I'm looking for funding." Okay. Then you ask them, "Tell me about your business. Okay. And what's the value proposition?" And unfortunately, most businesses, small business, do not even have a pitch deck. They don't have that small content about their business telling you what is the business model, what is the value proposition, okay? How the need for the funding, and how they even intend to, make returns on whatever investment someone wants to put in. This is a major mistake most SMEs do, or small business, especially those that are startups. My 10th point is taking loans out of panic or not aligned to business needs. So, because most of these more practices that we do sometimes push us into the need for cash. Usually when we hear some announcement, or we see some small, we just want to go and access the fund. We seek for debt, or we seek for fund out of panic, not because we don't have proper financial management or proper financial planning. And as such, it leads us into taking high interest rate loans. And this mostly leads us to an unsustainable debt burden for the business. And eventually we are unable to pay. Because sometimes, as I said, in the person's mind, oh, I can quickly go and buy this. Then I'll sell it to this one. Then I'll go and pay the debt. For him to realize that as soon as he went to take the money, he couldn't sell. Now you have taken a throat-cutting debt, high interest rate, and you have to pay even the debt, even with your capital. One of the next practice that also constrain SME or lock up a lot of SME cash is poor inventory management. Because we don't have proper planning and we have not studied our market well, sometimes what we intend to do is that the moment we realize that, oh, there is certain reduction in some of our raw material, now we use all our money to go and buy. And unfortunately, we are unable to convert that stock into cash. And you realize that this leads to a lot of SMEs locking up their operating cash or working capital in stocks or in inventory. They are unable to sell. And you see every time they are, gasping for cash. Some of them too, as soon as they sell, no, they say, let me go and buy another and come and put there. So for every point in time, you see the business value is all in stock or inventory. And with inventory, what happens is that it takes time to convert them into cash. And when you don't have the cash, you realize that, oh, I need money. But it's not money you need, it's poor management. It's poor inventory management. You've not managed your inventory well to know that when should you turn around it, when should you buy, and when should you sell. Okay. So that is one area that we need to also have a look at. And to tie into this one, a lot of SME think that it is false. Oh, if I don't sell on credit, they will not buy. And those who sell on credit realize that there is no credit policy. The business does not have credit policy. They sell to anybody on credit. Oh, I'll give it to me, then this month, at the end of the month, I'll give it to you. So you realize that all their sales are in credit. They don't discriminate, they don't differentiate. And you ask the next one, oh, then when are you going for your next stock? Oh, I'm waiting to collect the monies, the one I sold, before I go and take stock. And unfortunately, we know our environment. By the time you go back, prices are high. You realize your capital cannot manage you to repurchase the quantity you sold at the last time. And it leads to depletion of our capital. The next moment, we are dead. My next point is inadequate knowledge on the business environment. I think I've said that as part of the knowledge and education part. So I would want to talk about poor credit record. Okay. There's a common practice going on in Ghana. People forget that it leads us into trouble when we want to do business. There's a common response lately when you want to put money into somebody's Momo wallet. So don't put it there. I'll give you another number.
Yes.
Okay. This shows that a person has borrowed and doesn't want to pay. Yeah. What we fail to forget is that even though we don't have a proper credit bureau system in Ghana, but there is a level of credit bureau when it comes to the financial sector. And if you take soft loan as Momo and you don't pay, know that your name has been reported to the Credit Reference Bureau. The moment you go to a bank and you are looking for money, they will go and search your name and say, this person, you took mobile money, he didn't pay.
You
understand? He did not pay, or he or she didn't pay. And if you don't practice taking money from people and repaying, you realize that when you start business, that practice or that what is it called? That trait or culture that you have learned will follow you into your business. And even when you get opportunity for someone to even give you trade credit, you realize that because you don't have a good culture of repaying. So your credit record is not good. You are not a credible person, so nobody will give you the business. Then you meet them, they'll say, oh, me, when I go to everybody, they don't want to. When I go to people, they don't want to give me the money. Then the next thing is that the good Lord will be suffering out of prayers.
Oh.
But it is our character. See, one other areas finance or the providers of finance or banks look at, they call it the 7 C's. And one major point in assessing every credit is the character of the borrower. So even if you cannot demonstrate that you have taken a loan before, some people, when they go to businesses and they say, oh, do you have any financial credible record? See, you can even demonstrate among your friends that, oh, when I borrowed money from my friends, I pay. You can ask of all of my friends. That shows your credibility of your character. But you take your friend's money, you don't pay. You want to take Momo money, you don't want to pay. Some people say, oh, me, I've even thrown the chip away. Your name is there. Your name is there. So let's desist from some of these things. Sometimes we take it for granted, but we forget that it follows us. It's a character. And every person, even an investor that wants to give you free money, wants to see your character, how you use the money.
Okay.
My next, not the least, the final one, but not the least one. I think this is also a major one for me.
Yes.
Ignoring professional financial advice. SMEs, due to a perceived mind that they see financial advice as cost. So for that matter, I will not even approach anybody or engage anybody to provide me with financial advice. Or sometimes it can also be lack of awareness. However, this, in a way, mostly put us in a position where we miss the opportunity on the valuable guidance that financial professionals can provide. So unfortunately, that because you avoided these kind of opportunities, you are unable to plan your tax. You don't know how to put together a proper financial strategy to help you to even go out there. What money do you need? At what point do you need the money? Okay. How can someone, assess your business and advise you on how to properly manage your available sources that are available to you, your internal resources that are available to you? So these are some of the common improper practices that a lot of SMEs, especially in Ghana, do that do not eventually go on and help the business to grow and sustain that particular growth.
Oh, Kofi, can you see my notes?
But I can see you've written a lot.
Oh, I have written. And if you're watching either on Facebook, on YouTube, or you're joining us here on Zoom, and you don't have all these notes, PBI, we always bring you the advice. The last thing that Kofi mentioned, ignoring professional financial advice. If you haven't written any notes, you are ignoring professional financial advice right now. You've put
the nail right where it's supposed to be.
Yes, because this is what is happening right now. Sources of funding exist in Ghana is the first thing he said. We've heard this when we had a conversation with Ecomensa, when he mentioned that there are businesses or there are NGOs or bodies, agencies that are looking to fund innovative ideas, good business practice, and then just generally support young SMEs that are looking to improve Ghana. So he says there's sources of funding that exist, but our financial practices is the reason why we do not have access to or are not qualified for those funds. The main things he mentioned are informal businesses, running informal businesses. We don't have any papers, we don't have nothing. How am I supposed to give you money when your business is not even registered with Registrar General? Well, if I'm looking for you, where will I find you? Poor financial management, lack of knowledge of the business environment, no knowledge and skill in accounting and financial management, profiteering and irregular pricing of businesses. And then he mentioned some key thing that he said the major objective of business should be growth, not excess profit. I think this is amazing. That statement is amazing. I'm going to quote it and I'll tag you. I'll make sure I tag you because that's a great statement to make.
Thank you.
And then he went on to no or ineffective internal controls. No pitch deck. Oh, the number of times I've heard this and seen this in meetings or even at functions where there's opportunity to network, and you came and you didn't even come with the one pager, but you're looking for funding. And there's funders sitting there, they ask you what's your business about. Then you start with your story of how you finish university.
How their grandmother told them that they can be a good businessman and they can be this, they can be that.
And the man is still, he literally has about 20 minutes, or I said 20 minutes, 20 seconds to listen to you, for you to catch his attention. Once you start that story, he's gone. He's moving on.
He's gone.
On. And unstructured loans or panic borrowing, poor inventory management that causes you to lock up your cash. You'll be sitting there, you have stock you've not sold, but you need to pay people you owe, you need to pay your workers. That's a big problem. No credit policy or poor credit records. And then finally, the one that I said, if you didn't write any notes today, ignoring professional financial advice. Kofi. Listen, if we don't even do the other 2 sessions, if anybody doesn't come to the other 2 sessions and you take any of these things seriously, all the things he's mentioned that are wrong, and you look in your business and you adjust your business to make sure that if you are guilty of any of these things, you fix it, you would have gotten excellent financial advice. Excellent financial advice. Because there are mistakes. The things he mentioned, I've made those mistakes. In my own business and in the corporate business that we've worked in, I've seen these mistakes. And he's absolutely right. Some of them, I think I'm even making right now, especially that credit policy that he mentioned. I think I'm even making it right now. We need to look at our businesses, go through the business, and make sure that we sort it out. So please, the information today, priceless. Priceless. Drop your comments in the comment section on YouTube and the comment section on Facebook. And if you're here on Zoom, make sure you reach out and tell us all the things that you learned today from this conversation. We will be bringing Kofi back next week to answer all your questions. When you go back and look into your business and see that, this is what's happening in my business, and you decide that I'm going to fix it, write your questions down on how you can fix it, because next week, he will be taking all your questions and he will answer all of them. You get? So this has been PBI. Today's episode was financial management. I have been with Kofi Abuachi. I think so. Kofi Abuachi. And Matrosa, I've written so much here. The detail that I'm going to do on my own business, I'm already thinking about the conversation I'm going to have with my accountant. Because after this call, I'm calling him. So if you know that you want to continue to gather financial advice from this conversation, please join us next week. Bring your questions when you're coming next week. This is my Zoom people. If you're coming to join us next week on Zoom, same Zoom details. Bring your questions. If you will not be able to join us, send in your questions via our email, via our Facebook, via our YouTube, via our Instagram, PBI Global. It's very simple. We are simple everywhere. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an amazing day having you here. You know how it is. I'm going to sign out, and then, but people are dropping comments. Hey, people, I like you. Let's have you dropping comments. Thank you so much. Says what? Yajaba Jacob. Awesome. That was an amazing presentation. And then I am Jedediah. Hey, Jedediah. He says, the core of business is growth, not profit. Thanks for the presentation. We are so grateful for this presentation. In fact, what I did to you today. Whether it's thank you, whether it's well done, whether it's I owe you a beer, I don't know what to say to you, but this has been priceless. Thank you so, so much, ladies and gentlemen. This has been PBI. Today, we had the What is Wrong series on financial management in Ghana and West Africa. Next week, bring your questions. He will be answering all the questions. And you can see he's well equipped to answer all the questions. So come and let's have some good learning next week. In the meantime, in between time, it's been Ellie now, and I'll see you next week. Follow PBI and engage. Bye-bye.
Bye.